Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
This episode is brought to you by Workday. Workday is the next-gen ERP powered by AI that actually knows your business. It helps you handle the have-to-dos so you can focus on the can't-wait-to-dos. It's a new Workday.
Sunday morning. Well, which way is New York City going? Well, a lot of people are scratching their heads, and we all love New York, and we all pray for New York. With us today is Steve Fulop, and he is the new CEO of the Partnership of New York City, the most powerful, get-together of the 300 top companies of New York. Well, Stephen Fulop, you were the 49th mayor of Jersey City. Now you got a real challenge, running the Partnership of the City of New York. Tell us, everybody's scratching their heads of where are we? We got a new mayor. This mayor is a socialist mayor. And you tell us, you're the business person representing the 300 top companies of our city.
Yeah, so John, I'll tell you that I spent time in Iraq with the Marine Corps. I left after 9/11. I was working at Goldman Sachs in Lower Manhattan and decided to leave and enlist. Went to Paris Island and out to Iraq with the first wave of troops. So
you're one tough guy.
So I don't know if I'm a tough guy, but I've been in tough situations. So this is a difficult situation, I think, for the city. The city's resilient, which is great. You know, everybody wants to be in New York City. I think the CEOs would say we're in uncharted territory, what it means to have a socialist mayor. A lot of things he says we don't believe in, but we're all rooting for the city and we want to see success. So we're going to see how this looks and where we can insert ourselves in a productive way.
Right now, the real estate industry is a big industry in New York, and they're quite concerned. The banking industry is a big industry in New York. The hospitals is a big industry in New York. The universities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of them are worried. And during the last 2 weeks, when we had 4 weeks, we had the nursing strike. The new mayor was advising the nurses, not the hospitals.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that there's going to be kind of growing pains where the mayor realizes, how powerful and assertive he can be. I mean, I think the best place for him to have been there would have been brokering the deal, not on the picket line. But the transition from being an activist to being the executive is going to be a little bit of a process. So, we'll see where it goes. I'll tell you, we had an executive board meeting for the partnership this morning. So, 25 of the most significant business leaders in the world happen to be obviously domiciled here in New York City. And there's definitely concern. There's no question about the business climate, about some of the rhetoric, growing anti-Semitism on the extreme left and the impact to quality of life throughout the city. And there's more of a willingness to engage on advocacy and politics than there ever has been before, because they recognize that the city has gone in the direction that they're not entirely comfortable with, and their employees. They represent 800,000 employees here in New York, and some of those employees, many of those employees, are very concerned.
And in addition, the police, the new mayor has threatened to raise taxes significantly. He's threatened to not allow the police department to hire an additional 5,000 police officers that was in the system to hire. He has said to the governor's office that we need more money, etc., etc., etc. What do you want to What do you want to pick on first?
I will tell you that my interactions with the mayor, he is very smart. He's in the weeds, which is a good thing, understanding the nuances of the budget challenges. And I think he sincerely wants to see the city succeed. And I think he's navigating a very, very tough political base that's very good to get you elected, but very tough to govern with those people on the extreme left. And I think that's a tough thing for him to navigate. So, our job is to help him be successful where we're aligned. I don't think the tax conversation is productive because we are going to be 100% higher than New Jersey if we take that proposal. New Jersey's current corporate tax rate is 11%. If we do what the mayor has recommended, we'll be at 22%. It's 100% over New Jersey. So, people don't have to move to Texas or Florida. They could just move a mile away, which is a real risk for the economy here in New York. People want to be in New York, but you got to have an economy that's competitive. And we're getting close to a place that it isn't.
Understood. Again, I've been in New York for over 70 years, 75 years. I've been in business in New York for over 55 years. And I do have concern. And I've talked to the mayor, and I said, we have a relationship of at least talking. I'm willing to give him the first 100 days and say, okay, show us what you can do. I mean, and I've offered my advice, and if he's interested in it, and we certainly don't want a mass exodus out of New York, because if he raises taxes to the extreme that they're talking about, it'll be a big number. For instance, the proposed budget for New York City is $127 billion. When I ran for mayor in 2013, was $49 billion, and the whole state of Florida of 24 million people is 120 billion. So you tell me.
I think that New York has some opportunities, but they're politically tough. And I think that, sometimes the most effective mayors are the ones that are willing to do the tough things politically and make decisions that always aren't popular with your base. If you think about, as a starting point, school funding in New York, I think that most people would acknowledge that it's flawed. I think that you've had two previous mayors that tried to address it. They weren't able. But if you look at it pragmatically, you've seen enrollment drop from 1.1 million to a little bit more than 800,000 while the budget has increased. I mean, we need to have a conversation about it. I think the rental relief program, it's an entitlement program, and I think most people would acknowledge that entitlement programs mostly happen at the federal level. It's very, very rare for a city to be driving an entitlement program like that. It costs billions of dollars a year. As well-intentioned as it is, you need to think about, how to make that stuff effective from a cost standpoint. I mean, you could go on all day with some difficult decisions that are right in front of him. And, our job is to be supportive where we can and think about it's not only taxes, because if people leave, you're going to have a bigger problem. And I would just say on the affordability crisis, I think everybody recognizes there's an affordability crisis. The best way to address the affordability crisis is have more jobs with better paychecks. That is the really best way to address affordability, because most people know that costs don't come down. You could stabilize them. It's very, very difficult to drive costs down, but you need to increase wages and get people opportunities to make more money, and that means you have to have a good business climate so people hire and there are better jobs.
When I ran for mayor, I think we have to look it up. I think it was 249,000 employees in 2013, and now there's 306,000. So somebody has to scratch their head, and somebody has to run the business.
That's right. I mean, look, he has people like you. He has huge business leaders throughout New York City that are, global leaders that manage huge budgets, huge number of employees. So, he has a resource that hopefully he taps into in order to, manage this situation. I mean, it's a very, very tough job he has. 300,000 employees, like you said, over $100 billion budget. Difficult. And so, the hope is that he leverages some of the resources that are here because people want to see him succeed.
Stephen Stephen Fulop, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to talking very often.
Thank you.
And trying to work together to solve our city's problems because we all love our city.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.